You know, I I feel pressed to say something on behalf of the ancestors as a mouthpiece for the mother. They want me to maybe help some understand. Some, I say, because some of you may already understand this. But some, and I think many, don't. And I'm going to speak on this subject in a couple different ways. I'm just going to kind of expound on this, okay? What humanity needs to understand, what humans, if that's what you want to call us, need to understand is that the human race is the youngest race of gods and goddesses that there is. Out of all of the created gods and goddesses that there is, out of all of the elemental energies, out of all of the deified ancestors, out of all of them, we are the youngest. We are the youngest race of gods and goddesses that there is in this known universe. When you understand that, then you can better understand why we act the way we do, both with each other and with divinity. And I don't care how many times your soul has reincarnated in this existence. You are the youngest of the gods and goddesses in this known created universe. Many of us are carrying ancient souls, right? We're carrying ancient souls that have come here and been here since antiquity and have reincarnated over and over and over. And so because your soul is what we call ancient or an old soul, you don't really realize that even in your elderness, if that's even a word, even in your eldership, you are still the youngest of all the known gods and goddesses. You are carrying souls, very well, possibly, that could have been here since the creation of the world as we know it. And so in that sense, yes, you are ancient. But you are still the youngest out of the races of gods and goddesses that there are. You can tell you're the youngest because you keep reincarnating. Now, what does that mean? It fundamentally means that what you need to know, you do not yet know. You do not yet know what you need to know, which is why you're here to learn what it is you need to know. I really believe, and I can be 100% fact checked on this. I'm not talking from a historical standpoint. I'm not talking from books and texts. I'm talking from what I believe as a spiritual investigator of sorts. I believe that although the myths say, like, take for instance the Titans and the Olympians, right? And they say that the Titans were the parents and the Olympians were the children, and the children rose up against the parents. I firmly believe that the human race are the Olympians. I know that we have been taught that we are the Titans. I don't think we are. I think we are the Olympians. I think the issue that we have is that we are children continuing to try to raise up against our parents. I think that God is us, and God the Father, if you want to call it that, which is not a deity, it is an entity. And it makes sense when you really think about it. We are not deified yet. I know a lot of us like to think that we are, but if you are in a human body, you are not deified. So the most you can be is an entity, a created being that has power and can give its power over to another and can also pull power from another. You can be fed with power. You can have your power removed and withdrawn from you. You are an entity. You are no deity if you are in the human body. I said before that earth is the place where gods and goddesses are born, where they are raised. Because to reach deification requires a very real sense of balance that we clearly do not have yet, which means there's no possible way. I don't care how many times you walk around in your neighborhood, up and down your streets, talking about what up God, what up goddess, what up. That you're no god or goddess as of yet if you're in the human body. There is clearly something you still need to learn in order to call yourself a god or goddess. Not saying that we shouldn't say it is probably in a sense of, speaking prophetically over each other's life or calling out certain energies and frequencies, to aid each other in our growth. So, we don't want to walk around calling each other bitches and hoes and punk niggas. And, we want to speak positive. I get that. But these delusions of grandeur that some people have, like, flabbergast me. And it shows me that you still don't understand rank. You still don't understand the spiritual system. Because you don't understand that you're at the bottom of the totem pole. The whole way in which we have been taught to relate to the deities shows our arrogance, our childishness. You don't know how to yet be in the position you are in and have reverence. You want to take the gods and the goddesses, the ones that have already been deified, and you want to run them raggedy. You want to have them running up and down the universe like a workhorse. You really think that they are here to do your bidding, because they are so faithful at assisting your childish behind. Then you think that you are more than you are. You know why they're faithful despite your arrogance and despite your childishness is because they have been deified, which means that they have balance. Your little stupidity doesn't trigger them. So they're faithful to you. Unless you commit some sort of real spiritual injustice, they'll be faithful to you. They'll be patient with you. But that is not for you to go out and think that you have some sort of control or some sort of dominion over elemental deities, over elemental ancestors who have been here since before antiquity. They understand how to control elements. They have literally become one with the wind. So then now they are a deity they are an ancestral deity that you can call upon. Humanity is the youngest race of created beings in this known universe. We really need to admit that we don't know what the fuck is going on. We are learning. It always surprises me when one of these woke folk get to popping off about the deities. Like they got the deities on auto dial, and they got the like the deities is just to do their bidding, and then half of the bidding that you have them doing ain't even justified. Spirit said to me, and if I can remember it, if not, I'll get my book. I wrote it down. This was months ago. The God that we know as God, or the God that we have been taught is God, you know, Daddy God, God the Father. Him, the one that we all are most familiar with. He did not create man. And by man, I mean mankind. Mankind created him, because he is mankind. He's the little jit God that decided that he wanted to raise himself up above the mother. Who do you think that is? That would be us. This is why in every culture, in every race, in every place, in every part, in every land, every continent, any continent that believes that they are the chosen of God, have no problem killing other people, raping other people, pillaging and plundering on behalf of the same damn God, because we are that God. We created that entity. The more dogmatic we are, the more devoted we are to ourselves, the more vicious, violent, and destructive God seems to become. How is that possible? How is that? How is, if he is running things and he created us, how is it possible that his attitude and his energy changes with the wind? Whatever humanity changes, he changes. He seems a little fickle to me. He seems a little young and wet behind the ears to me. Is it possible that humanity and this God the Father is one and the self same? I think it's possible. We have been running around here for decades, generations, times immemorial at this point, running amok. Running amok. What does that mean going forward? It's just food for thought at this point. The ego, the arrogance, the delusion of grandeur lodged within the mind of this young race of gods called humans is being dealt with. At some point, you fell for the deception of your own importance. At some point, humanity raised itself up against its mother. At some point, humanity decided that they didn't want to depend on the seasons. They wanted to control the elementals. They don't want to manifest rain out of reverence, the sun out of reverence. They want to control it. And over the decades, it has gotten worse and worse and worse. And now we have a human race who is artificially controlling. Your magic that you do, your witching craft, your roots in voodoo and hoodoo, you have to be very careful when you work with the arts, the spiritual arts. You have to check your energy. You have to make sure that you are not doing it out of the desire for control and domination. So when I work with fire, when I first started my spiritual art crafting, I thought it was about manipulation. I thought it was about controlling. It's not. I get a better response from the elements now as I've matured and evolved and put away childish things when it comes to spirituality. I get a better response when it's done out of a mutual respect. When I communicate with the elemental forces with reverence, I get a better response. Right? We as the youngins, we have come to know a lot about this planet, both physically and spiritually, and yet it still mesmerizes us. There's still so much we don't know about this dimension. There's still so much we don't know about ourselves. We spend more time causing the deities to be at war with each other. Oh, make no mistake. It is the ignorance and the childishness of humanity who causes the deities to have to fight each other. Let me give you an example. Somebody would say that I'm a daughter of, let's say, Oshun. Okay? And you have somebody on your job who's getting on your nerves. And you may consciously know you're a daughter of Oshun. So you go home and you do your thing with your shamalama ding dong with Oshun to get revenge or to fight or send work, send energies to a particular, maybe it's a supervisor and she said something to you didn't like, or, I don't know. She got you fired, suspended or something. Whether consciously or not consciously, she may be a daughter of, let's say, Urzuli. So then you go home as a daughter of Oshun and you do what you feel you have the right and the power to do under the power of Oshun. You send work to this woman on your job because she got on your nerves or she offended you. She ain't slept with your husband or murdered your children or nothing. She just offended you. You're so sensitive. She lied on me. And you feel very justified because Oshun ain't no punk. And we all know that. None of them are. None of them are. We talking about the powers that govern. None of them ain't no punk now. You know what I mean? But now you have sent work to someone who either consciously or unconsciously is the daughter of Urzuli. So now in essence, you have Oshun fighting Urzuli. Now who's going to win that? And see, this is why, those of us who do witchcraft, and do it ethically. I've heard other teachers of spell work and witchcraft and things like that try to explain that with everything you send, you must be prepared because everything every action has a reaction. You don't go unscathed. You don't go unscathed. Especially if it's done unjustly. If the punishment is not fit for the crime. Like she lied on you, so you put her in a car wreck and almost cost the woman her life. All because she just told a little lie that you could outlive easily. Spell work is not the problem, and we have a race of people within the race of humanity who has deemed witchcraft to be evil because the witches who crafted are evil. And once again, this proves my point that it is humanity that is the problem. You just won't grow up. You're finding it difficult. We're finding it difficult to treat each other with any amount of respect, no matter how omnipotent, omnipresent, no matter how this God the Father, no matter how high we say he sits, we still find it difficult to treat each other with any amount of respect, patience, friend of mine, unfortunately, was in a situation on her job where she was in her vehicle and was ran off the road by a Caucasian man in a pickup truck. Like, he literally used his truck to run her off the road into a ditch. Thank the mother that she came out fine. Gratitude to the ancestors. On my behalf, gratitude that she came out fine physically. Caucasian man got out the car after running her off the road and was cussing and fussing her out and so on and so forth. She was shook up, but she tried to back up out the ditch. She did. She was trying to go down the road, but the Caucasian man decided to stand in the middle of the road and continue to yell obscenities at her. So she found a way to go around him. She called 911, got on the phone with them, gave them the license plate, so on and so forth. She got back to her job, right? And the police were there. I think they took a statement. She wanted to press charges. The cop that showed up said that the situation where it happened was out of his jurisdiction and that I guess the county sheriff was going to come, so on and so forth. She left that situation that day, and then she got back to her job and she told her job that she was too shook up because, you know, based on the kind of job she does, she doesn't know if the Caucasian man in the pickup truck will follow her around and try to do it again or try to cause her harm and stuff like that, right? She's melanated, and the job basically told her, well, if you don't, you know, fulfill the duties, you'll get some sort of a write-up or a fine or something like that. Sheriff came. I don't know if they took her statement or not, but whatever the case may be, she was not able to press any charges on the other driver because law enforcement told her that it was her word against theirs. Now this job is in a small town. One of them predominantly Caucasian towns, you know. And she was not able to press any charges against the man. And the man rode off into the sunset, basically. Scotch-free, no harm done, no punishment served. And yet she's here now, very shaken up, very angry, very upset, and she had every right to be, because in essence he used his vehicle as a weapon. Could have cost her life. And as she was explaining this on a social media platform, she was crying, and she got to a point, as any person would, where she made a statement where she said, you know, I'm not worried about it because I know God got me. I know God got me. And I want to say, and I want to make a point without any disregard. I'm not trying to disregard. I'm just trying to make a point. We are walking around believing in something that does not really exist outside of ourselves. Right? We come away from a situation like that, and this happens all the time. Particularly as melanated people. We come away from these injustices, these violations, and we still hang on to the idea that God got me. And my question in my head was, for a God that is so omnipresent, for a God that's such a right on time God, how hard is it for this God to bring justice when justice is due? I said to myself, now what if the Caucasian man that ran her off the side of the road with the truck, what if he believes in the same God? Which more than likely he does. More than likely. Of course, he could be an atheist. But more than likely, he does. She was the one that experienced the injustice. He was the one that rendered the injustice. They both believe in the same God. And yet he is the only one that walked away from that incident unscathed, unpunished, there's a fundamental question that we have to look at. And some may say, well, God might show up and give her justice later. He might. I doubt it. I doubt it. Because I would like to think that the deities are intelligent enough, right? Like the law enforcement was right there. They had the license plate number. It wouldn't have been hard since the whole justice system is supposed to be predicated, the whole laws of the land that we live on is supposed to be predicated upon the principles of the same God. Now, this is where my mind begins to say, now let's stop with the bullshit. And we always want to give this idea of God the Father a pass. He may not come when you want him, but he's always on time. Him and his little baby Jesus. He's always on time. We always have 50 million ways and reasons as to not to really look at this here situation with a little bit of intelligence. If God the Father is outside of you, and see, this is why certain ones, mainly the Caucasoids, the Caucasians, I don't mean that in any way derogatory, this may be why they always seem to have the upper hand, because while they brainwash us to believe that God the Father is outside of ourselves, they know very well that they are God the Father, and they're the youngest race out of us all. They have taken the truth of spirituality of our existence as the youngest race on the planet. They have taken the intellectual, spiritual understanding of spirituality of the oldest race of the planet, used it for themselves, and turned around and gave you a whole bunch of nonsense. And we walk our melanated asses around hollering about, I know God got me, instead of saying, I am God, I demand justice. So it's a different frequency and you get a different result. Get a different result. You don't get brushed off and told it's your word against his. And the more you connect and raise your vibration as little baby gods and goddesses, the more quicker that result comes. But we are still so brain dead that we're waiting on a God to come and rescue that is never going to come and rescue. Why? Because outside of your self-love, he don't exist. And the faster we understand that is when we come to the truth that, oh, so we are the little baby gods and goddesses. So now I have an understanding as to the reverence I need to have for the deities as a deity. And once I get out from the understanding or out from the lie of God the Father, then I can find the real source of power. And when I reach my mother, anything is possible because I am her. Once I get out from the lie, that takes, for one, humility. Humility in a sense that she is never trying to disempower me. She wants me to fully know my power because she created me to know my power. And so, because me knowing my power is predicated upon me honoring my mother in all of the ways, the manifold ways in which she exists, in the physical and in the spiritual dimensions, then I find myself perpetually in a place of reverence and respect. And when that reverence and respect is given, that reverence and respect is then received. I had someone's maybe 3, 4, 5, maybe a month ago, weeks ago, 4 or 5 weeks ago. Might have been longer, I don't know. It was in a month and a half or so. I had someone decide that they were going to try to spiritually intimidate me. I was in meditation, minding my business, as I always do. And someone decided they was going to send a dark energy, a dark being, to try to intimidate me, to try to keep me from coming here and speaking with the collective about the mother. They told me that they knew who I was and that I need to stop what I'm doing. And right after this man said those words, I found myself in a room. And as I tried to walk out the room went pitch black. Got to the door and it wouldn't open. And something grabbed me by my collar. Hung me up by the collar. And I heard this being say, "I will fight you." And as I'm dangling there, I said, "No." The tone of voice I'm saying it now is the tone of voice I said it into this dark being. I said, "No, we will not fight." I said, kind of smirking, I said, "I am young, but I am old. In essence, you are my brother. I have a job to do, and so do you. We will not fight. Now calm down." And it still held me. I said, "Now calm down." It held me a little longer. I said, "Now calm down." And it let me go. And I stood there and still in the darkness, and I said, "Who are you?" It didn't give me a name, but he allowed me to see him. In the darkness, I saw the eyes, I saw the general form. I said, "Gratitude. Gratitude. Thank you." And the light came on in the room, and I walked out. I am saying all of this because as you evolve, and if you take your spiritual elevation seriously, if you don't fall for the okie doke and the delusion of grandeur, respect gets you further all your libations, all your offerings, and I know we do that out of respect, so I'm not negating that. Your rituals, if not built upon a foundation of true heartfelt honor, if you think you're flexing, if you popping off, talk about my ancestors don't play by me, baby, you got a long way to go, because that very attitude lets me know that you don't even have honor. You don't even understand how that attitude dishonors the ancestors. They don't need you to flex for them. If they truly have power don't need no flex. You popping off because whether they have power or not, you really don't believe it. But you want to make everybody else to believe it to keep people from fucking with you because you're scared of getting your wig split. You're the bully on the playground that really doesn't know how to fight. So you go pick on the one you think is the weakest. You the loud one popping off, and then when somebody's smacking your shit, you looking stupid. The higher you raise your personal power, the less you want people to know you have power. I want you to look at me, and I want you to see a little country black girl from Florida who like to wear tennis shoes, jeans, and graphic tees. I want you to see Yolanda and think that that is all there is to me. That's what I want. I literally want that. Why do I want that? A couple of reasons. For one, hopefully, it will disengage you. It will cause you to hopefully take me as the sweet, funny, quiet, wise, otherwise friendly person that I am, and we can vibe right there. And we don't have to really go no further unless we're moving deeper based on mutual respect and enjoyment of each other's energy. Because I don't want it to go left. I don't. It oftentimes does, because instead of people just vibing with you on some good shit, they want to be the loudmouth bully, picking on the one they think is the most gullible and the weakest and undefended. That's one reason. That's the main reason. Secondly, fighting you is not what I'm here to do. I'm actually here to help you heal in whatever capacity you meet me in. And I enjoy that So I don't lead with my ancestors don't play by me. I wish I'm motherfucker would. Cause that draws to me now a frequency out of you that I don't really find enjoyable. I mean, I'll deal, but I don't pop off like that because I don't want to attract the very frequency that I don't enjoy. Because the truth is, they don't play about me, but I don't play about me, but they don't play about me. And because I know they don't play, and because I know exactly how powerful they are, and because I've been given instructions, do not dishonor us by popping off like that. We don't need you to warn nobody on our behalf. Then I don't do it. But you find so many they get a little spell up under their little, you know what I mean, in their little arsenal, and they all of a sudden so such and much. You understand what I'm saying? And it boils down to a lack of understanding as to where you sit on the totem pole, where you're trying to get to, and how to get there. These myths and scriptures that we read about the deities fighting amongst each other, is a myth created. It's a story. It's a legend. It is a story created by the ignorance of humanity, because they are the youngest race in the universe. So when there's wars in the spirit, it's because there's wars on earth. It is not the way they said it. Oh, there's wars in the spirit, so we warring down here. Oh, there was a war, so then it can, the as above, so below, as below, so above is so intertwined. But humanity needs to start taking responsibility for the spiritual wars we are creating amongst the deities. We have to start taking responsibility. If there's any wars between the angels and the demons, are we creating it? Because these are high intellectual sentient beings who have existed before we know time as it is. Were they really warring when were they fighting really? Or is all of that warfare created by the children who wanted to raise themselves up above their mother? And so they erected for themselves a God, which is no God, but is an entity, an idea of themselves that they feed. Just food for thought, just something to think about, something to investigate. God the Father may very well be a reflection of us, and not us a reflection of Him. He may be a creation of our own doing, and not Him creating us. It's possible. I mean, seeing as how, generally speaking, we don't want to acknowledge that this God the Father had a mother. And if you want to speak in layman terms, we don't even want to acknowledge that he has a wife. Because whose womb did he bring your ass here through? Because he certainly doesn't have a womb of his own. So however you split this conversation, the disconnect between humanity and the feminine aspect of the Godhead is where the problem starts. It's where the ignorance starts. It's where the disempowerment starts. It's where the imprisonment starts. And it's also where it ends. Peace, family.